All right. We are live. What is going on, people? This is Matt Baker. This is We the Sequel. Tonight, our guest will be Jason Robert with We Are Change, at We, the letter R, Change. And I've actually known about this guy for a long time during COVID and everything. And I've really liked all of his work that he's been doing. Let me turn this background music off for a second. He's been involved in everything during COVID, during lockdowns. He's been involved with the fluoridation in the water. He's been involved with chemtrails. He's pretty much involved with everything that I love and hold dear. I know he's not a big fan of the technocracy. I know he's not afraid to get out there in front of city councils. I know he puts his name out there, and he's actually the We Are Change. I actually know some people in the larger, broader organization, We Are Change, even in Australia. So this is actually kind of an international umbrella organization. I'm not sure exactly how it works and how they affiliate with one another, or if he's directly related to them or not. We'll hear a little bit more of that. We're going to start by getting into the documentary that he made. I believe it's called it's a chemtrail documentary. I'll bring it up here in a second. I forget the exact name of it. I want to say chemtrails, but it's like weather trails. I think it's like weather trails. And it ties into some t-shirts that I've made about global warming and stop climate change. Stop spraying our skies with these damn aerosols, please. I mean, anybody who believes that the climate change or that the chemtrails are not real, the change coming from the climate, from the chemtrails, sorry, I'm tongue-tied tonight, are not real, are just retarded. Because I mean, when I was a kid, I used to watch the contrails go by and they would disappear. And I'm an artist, you know. I was a very stony little kid even before I started smoking weed or anything like that. I would lie on my back for hours and look at the sky. And I remember specifically those little contrails that evaporated away, the condensation trails. And I remember as I got older, you start seeing them maybe in the last 10 years to where they would stay in the sky, and then the crisscross patterns, and now they're diffusing, and then you end up with these silvery skies. So, I mean, this has been outlawed in several states now. It's now a movie, I believe, on Netflix. And so it's gone, as a lot of other things, it's gone from being a quote unquote conspiracy theory to an actual fact, an actual conspiracy, people actually conspiring against humanity. You know, Bill Gates admits he wants to spray things into the sky and block out the sun. You know, the US military talks about doing it. You know, they've got millions of patents on it, and they call it stratospheric aerosol injection. That's why there's the chemtrails aren't real, but they are trails with chemicals in them, and that's why we colloquially call them chemtrails. We're going to go from that onto his work, where he has been doing a lot of public speaking and pushing for the removal and the actual successful removal of fluoride in the water, another so-called conspiracy theory that is in fact a reality. In fact, they used to use it to dumb people down and make them more docile, I think, in the gulags and even in Nazi Germany, if I'm not mistaken. He can tell us a little bit more about that. You know, the fluoride that you're supposed to use for your teeth is one thing. And it, you know, you could argue whether that works or not, but this is hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is actually a highly toxic material, can actually burn through concrete from what I'm told. And you have to have like full on hazmat suits to use this stuff. And then we're just going to use that, and we're going to go into an interview he did recently with Stu Peters, and been on Stu's show myself. He does cover a lot of good stuff, and he's ahead of the game on a lot of things. You can like or lump whatever you want out of his thing. If you're not into the JQ question, which I know a lot of people aren't, but a lot of people are, well, he gets into vaccines. He gets into chemtrails. He gets into transhumanism. He gets into the AI takeover. And in this particular one, he's talking about Israel and their involvement or possible involvement with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, Justin Robert, about to join us here in a little bit. He actually went out as a good journalist and actually went there in person and took videos. We're going to look at some of the videos he took and talk to him about that. And then get into, where the world is right now, what's happening with the Trump White House, and, maybe talk a little bit about the Candace Owens things that are going on, about the seditious seven or whatever their name is now. And we'll get into everything. We're going to get into it all. To warm it up here, I'll probably wanted to start with an old classic, because I just finally found it and managed to download it here. And a lot of people have seen this video of me when I first went viral, but the let's see if it's here. Is it even here? Yeah, there is. They ended up cutting off the end where I said, and the penalty for violating the Nuremberg Code is death. And I thought, seeing as it's a metal song, I thought, why wouldn't they have that in there? So I did my best to edit the two pieces together and put in that ending for you. So you may not have ever seen it with the full ending, because the other part went super mega viral. And I just think it's a nice way to start this off. And by the way, before I do that, if you would be so kind, I hate asking this, but it really makes a big difference. Right now we got about 90 people in here, 93. If everyone would just take a second and just retweet this stream, leave a comment, because it helps the algorithm like it. Maybe comment on someone else's comment, give it a heart, give it a like, give it a retweet, because I really do enjoy doing these streams. And I've been told, actually, it's kind of teetering, just like, is it worth my effort? Should I even bother? But we got the guest here coming in, and anyway, I wanted to play this video real quick, and then we'll get him in here in a second. We'll just warm it up with this, but please do retweet this stream if you would be so kind, and we'll get some more people in, because the more people I get to see these streams, the more the numbers go up, the more I feel like it's worth my while, and the easier it is for me to get great guests like Justin. So anyway, just before we go on, I'm going to play this song just to pump everybody up, and we'll bring him in afterwards.
That's the wind. That's the wind of time. That's the wind of history. That's the wind blowing through your ancestors' bones, begging you to do the right thing.
Sir, can you please
that is the wind that
Sir.
Matt Baker is calling upon from Ocean Beach. The wind that is blowing through the black people, through the white people, through the Chinese people, through the Mexican Americans, to the people that built this building with their bare hands to raise up this nation. They are begging you, and they are blowing through your veins, and they should be putting a tingle up the spine of your back, and they should be begging you to do the right thing. You're about to open a pit of hell. You do not get a vaccine passport put on us. You know, as the population who's in control, you know that the people or the politicians, once you get a power, you will never relinquish it. Do you think that the 4 feet of marble that holds you above high in this chamber will help you from the fate of humanity which you are unleashing? No! It won't! Your children and your children's children will be subjugated! They will be asked, how many vaccines have you had? Have you been a good little Nazi? Hail Fauci! Hail Fauci! Hail Fauci! Hail Fauci! There's been a lot of talk about the Nuremberg Code. Well, I brought you a copy. You were all in violation of Section 1. Yes, you, Dr. Wuhan. You are in violation of the Nuremberg Code, which is international law. And the definition is...
Sir, your time has expired.
We shall not be coerced. All of this is coercion. The vaccine passport is coercion. And the penalty for violating the Nuremberg Code is...
Violating the ordinance of the meeting. Please take a seat. Please take a seat.
All right, all right. Who is that crazy lunatic, man? That's me. I was very angry. I think so was Justin. Are you ready to come in, Justin? You can give me a nod down there if you're ready. All right, let's add him to the stage here without further ado. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you doing? Glad to be here.
I'm I'm doing good, man. Just going down memory lane there. I remember you from originally back in the COVID days, right?
Absolutely. That's where I first saw you, man. I think we were both kind of doing our thing at the city council meetings on opposite ends of the country, both with a different flavor
Mhm.
and style, right?
Yeah, that's if you could call it a flavor or style. I was sitting there listening to those guys and they just were ignoring every single person. I had a whole speech written and basically they ignored everybody. And by the time it was actually about 6 hours that we were there, because there were so many patriots lined up to talk to those guys. By the time I got there, I was so irate at those people, I just completely went off the cuff, and that's how I got into the history books. So yeah, pretty cool
Man,
stuff, man.
I can totally relate to that feeling of them not listening.
So I was telling the people about your work with this movie about chemtrails. Is it called Weather Trail? What's it called again?
It's called Climate Trails.
Climate Trails. I knew that there was a trick there. I had a bunch of stuff I had to do before the stream. I tried to stack it all together, and I didn't actually get the name of that down. But I do have the clip. Would you like me to play that clip, or you have anything to tell people before we actually get going here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just real quick. It's a film that my friend Hibbler Productions has worked on, and he's done a lot of great films. So if you know his work, you know that he really puts his heart and soul into it. This was a film made by people like us. We actually broke through the mainstream crack and got it on Amazon Prime. That was our goal, and we weren't sure if they were going to accept it, but they did. And I think this is a groundbreaking film to really wake up a lot of people that maybe weren't aware of this issue or are new to it. So feel free to roll the clip.
Yeah, I'll play it here in a second, but I do want to say, it's
Yeah.
funny because I mean, how long have we been just going on and on about this, and people like out there are a certain level of just mind control zombies, just somehow or another, because on TV they say that it's not happening. They actually just don't believe their own eyes, or they have no memory of the past and they don't remember what planes used to look like. I think some people are just not that observant. Like, I specifically remember watching these planes when I was a kid, and I know exactly what it looked like, and I have that memory, and no one's going to change it for me. And so when people try and tell you it's fake, it's just gaslighting, and a lot of people buy into it. So let me pull this multiple screen up here so we can get it, and then we'll start the clip. And then do you want to comment on it, or should we just play it through?
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I'd say is that we actually were able to offer some solutions in this film. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, we know about the problem and blah blah blah, rah rah at the enemy,"
Mhm.
but this does offer solutions, so that's a really great aspect to this film as well.
Okay. We'll play the clip here and I'll check it out. And then I'll have some questions about that too. I really appreciate everything you're doing, man. I appreciate you coming on here too. So close to Thanksgiving. It's been tricky getting everything. I'm like going to the store and then I'm helping my neighbor and I'm like getting on the stream. So I know
Oh,
you're
dude,
probably
tell me
living the
about it.
same
I
dream.
know.
So here we go. Let's see if this comes
I
through
can
here.
control what I put into my mouth. I can control what I feed to my child. I can control how I grow my food and if I want to spray pesticides or not, but I cannot control the experiments over my head.
Within an hour, it spreads out, it creates a blanket.
We're in a war. This is a war against me, you, our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. This is war raged upon us.
These programs consist of spraying tons of patented aerosol pollutants into our skies without public consent. This includes aluminum, barium, strontium, and more.
It's targeting your food, your water, and it's coming in multiple different ways.
If people want to know if this is a real thing, states have bills to ban it.
I think there are now 32 states that have taken an attempt at this. This has become a huge issue.
If your average citizen knew the truth of what's going on and what they're being exposed to without their consent, they would be outraged and they would take action.
I don't want some creep ramming chemicals down my throat without my permission.
We need to prosecute those people that are doing it.
Do we stand in one spot and say enough is enough? And if they don't listen, we take it to the next step?
You've been doing this for a while?
Yep.
Long time. People do care.
Yeah.
We care deep.
I know that.
So we're now getting really involved, and now we're going to bring something legal against your company.
I think you're muted. Are you?
Sorry.
There
Yeah, I
you go.
just make sure I didn't want to be coughing or anything over that. Sorry. So yeah, it reminds me of this t-shirt design that I came up with, stop climate change. And so these are the things creating climate change, at least any of the man-made climate change. This is your man-made climate change right here. And there's two kinds. You can go to my t-shirt store and help support me. What do you think about those designs? Pretty cool, huh?
Dude, it's awesome. It's like you and the producer sort of had a same idea of like the play on words there, because his whole goal was to not flag the mainstream world with the word chemtrails, but to still bring climate change into it, because that is what's changing the climate, right? So that's where we came up with climate trails, and these are great.
Yeah, besides, obviously the sun might have something to do with it. And people don't even realize that there's galactic weather, so it's like, I know, but a lot of people you try and tell this to, it's kind of hard to defeat this argument when you realize that the polar ice caps on Mars are actually receding and proceeding in tune with the ice caps on Earth. So there was a period when they're kind of getting a little smaller. Now they're getting a little bigger. And the ice caps on Mars are doing the same thing based on solar activity. And not only solar activity, based on where we are in the galactic disk, or even in the plane of the ecliptic. Like as we go through different areas of the universe, it's a little warmer, it's a little colder, there's a little bit more electromagnetic radiation. And then even the core of the Earth and different things that are happening with our magnetosphere and all that kind of stuff has a lot to do with it. Way more than people with cars. But what's really changing it is these people who are purposely out there blocking out the sun, like Bill Gates, huh?
Yeah, what a wild idea. And that's what I tried to relay in my city council speech for the film, was that you really don't have to convince your elected officials or your neighbor that these things have been going on for decades. We can prove that, but forget that. They're actually publicly proposing these programs now. So then we should put measures in place to prevent them, just like Tennessee and Florida has done. Now, while we passed our bill in Florida, we weren't able to stop them. These are clandestine, federal, above top secret programs. So unfortunately, what I keep telling people is state laws can't stop chemtrails just yet, but it is symbolic, and it is a way to get the conversation rolling and get us to hopefully a point where we can stop them on a federal level.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can get your local government to actually agree to try and stop it, that means that they admit that there's a problem. And when they go out and they see that it's still going on, they're like, hello. Now they're going to get a little bit more pissed because their power is not being used. And so now they have to go to the higher level. I think it's just it's a slow battle, unfortunately, to wake people up to what's really going on, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Like you said, how long have people been at this? 10, 20 years, some of them. So like for us to this finally be going mainstream now and have 30
more,
yeah, 30 plus states to propose legislation on this, that's huge. So like you said, we're going through those motions in Florida right now where a lot of people were going, hey, the fluoride stopped, but the chemtrails are still going on. What's going on here? So we've been flooding this reporting system. If there's any Florida listeners, please reach out to me. We've got an actual little step-by-step thing on how do you report the weather modification activities. And if we just blow that system up, we can hopefully get a response and some sort of reaction from our state officials.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're doing so much good work out there. I was so good it's like the algorithm has you so crushed. I mean, for all the stuff that you've been doing throughout the days, and you're on big shows, and I see it on your page, and then it's got like one view. I know you're a lot bigger on Instagram, right? Is they still have you okay on Instagram?
Yeah, I've got a bunch. I've been on Instagram longer. I didn't come back over to Twitter until Elon took back over. So I've had to get my foot back over here. But yeah, we're always against an uphill battle. If you're not talking about mainstream culture war, political divide stuff, then you get buried. It's the forbidden topics don't get the algorithm favors, right?
Yeah, I didn't do myself any favors hating on Elon for about 6 months and making a documentary about him.
You probably didn't.
Yeah, no, it was downhill after that, man. I got 167,000 followers, and I'll have things that I post that just get 0 comments, and I'm like, yeah, I could literally walk outside my door on some days and just be like, hey, what do you think about this? And get more than 167,000 people that are supposed to be being exposed to my content.
And
But
that's what's so important about what our strategy and our creativity with how we spread the truth, right? My friend Joshua Coleman created the V is for Vaccine campaign, where we did big signs, highway banners, airplane messages when the censorship rolled out during COVID. So it backfired and we went to the streets. And now you've got people like Hibbler Productions making climate trails, and we got it on Amazon. So you tried to suppress us for so long. And for those that don't want to watch it on Amazon and support them, you can go to climatetrails.com, and all the proceeds go to truth tellers like us making films to wake up the masses. But it's just a great thing to see when we're actually able to slip through the cracks in this post-COVID world and get some of these topics at the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do me a favor, and if I don't know if you have, whether you're on your desktop or whatever, but when we play the next clip, if you want to put the link to that in the comments on this stream, that'd be good too. Whenever you get a chance,
Sure.
Don't drop the stream, don't cross the streams. I know how it is. It's tricky enough here without a producer. Sometimes I'm I drop my mic and I'm trying to bring in these different videos and stuff all at the same time, and so I got juggling a lot of stuff. But yeah, let's bring up a couple more of these clips because we got a lot of cool clips to go through. I was checking them out before you came on, and so let's go back over here to so you were saying there's one of these is you talking about the climate that's somebody who bought. Look at that, a happy customer. Look at that, stop climate change.
There you go.
One of these, is this you here? Oh, this is the fluoride one though.
Yeah,
is there another one?
Into the fluoride.
Is it fluoride and the chemtrails, or is it just
no? It's just going to be a fluoride one? Speech. Yeah.
Is it? Did you send me the one on that or no?
The full chemtrail speech? No, it's only in the trailer from the film, but it only shows me for a split second. I didn't send you the full speech from the film.
Fair enough. Well, we got a lot to cover here. We got a lot of ground to cover here. So tell us about this one here, because I always see you out there, and you do dress nicely. I go in like a madman, and then they just go, okay, we'll just ignore him because he's a complete lunatic. Like you really play the game here, and you're like looking respectable, and it's hard to deny you when you go in with this demeanor here. So tell us a little bit about this clip here real quick before I play it.
Yeah. So it's over the last. It's funny you mentioned that, because that is part of my strategy. Is they do everything in their power to make us look crazy. So if I go in there in a suit and I never raise my voice, never cuss, just keep it really factual, they have a really hard time to call me misinformation, to call me nut job. But I also think everyone has their role. So I'm glad that people like you go in dressed regular, because then it's like, okay, we got the suit guy, we got the soccer mom, we got we got everything. And it's not just a coordinated group. So it's good that we all go in our own way. But I truly, in a nutshell, got a lot of practice during COVID, speaking almost every month about the masks and the vaccines. So when this fluoride thing came around a year ago, last fall, federal court ruled that fluoride lowered IQ. This is something that we have been screaming from the rooftops for a long time.
I was watching that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So we went in Florida with our new Surgeon General and took that and ran with it. And we went around to all the communities in Florida that were willing to listen to us and take the fluoride out of the water. So in just 6 months, we took it out of 26 communities, 20 cities, 6 counties, and we're able to then motivate state lawmakers to just ban it statewide. They were like, wow, all these communities removing it, let's just ban it on a state level. It became like the thing to do. So we really created this like groundswell and a template for hopefully for the rest of the country to take fluoride out of your water, community by community, and then by the whole state. So
yeah, I'm going to have to take a leaf out of that one. There's so much, they're bombarding us with so much all the time that it's like, I have so many battles, but that really is a big one. And I probably would have remembered to do that, except for all the fluoride that I'm drinking.
Yeah, right. But like,
but no, said, I mean, you guys have actually done it, and then it really shows, like, hey, this is not a fringe weirdness, and especially the study points it out. Yes. So this is something that people could do, and you guys, if you guys want to do it in your local town, because like I said, I got lots of battles going on. I am going to actually take it upon myself to try and replicate what you did with that now, because you're calling me out. But and I don't want it. I don't want to be drinking the poison,
Right.
But if anybody else, like, reach out, follow Justin here. Justin, what's your handle again?
It's Justin_we are change, and the R is just the letter.
At Justin.
We are change.
Yep. Yeah, but and then is that on Instagram or here on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm also on Instagram, right? And Instagram is just a slightly different spelling. There is an underscore, and it's we are change, all spelled out, all the words.
Oh yeah, before I go on with this, so I used to have a friend during COVID and all that, and he was in Australia. Right now, it's slipping my mind what his name is. He was a huge anti-vax person during COVID. He's now over in Thailand doing teaching
Yeah,
English in
yeah.
schools over there. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, and I'm
I feel really
embarrassed
bad
now
that
that his name's
I
slipping
know,
my
I know.
mind because
Sorry,
I know his
bro.
name.
Sorry. It's hard when you're live. I know. Yeah. But so
Yeah, but
what
dude,
is the deal with the We Are Change overall banner? Like, are you really affiliated? Is there any kind of structure? How do you join? Is it just something you just take upon yourself? Can you explain that a little bit?
yeah, so kind of yes to all that. It's a very decentralized, loose organization. We are somewhat affiliated, but we're all autonomous. Like Luke Radowski is the founder of the original one, New York, started as a 9/11 truth movement, just became a truth movement of journalists and activists. I took over We Are Change Orlando in 2013. And I'll be honest, when I got going, over the years after 9/11, a lot of the chapters faded away worldwide. So you had like Connecticut, Colorado, Luke in New York, me in Orlando, and our Australia guy. And maybe there was a guy in Europe, and
Australia
in the
guy.
UK, but like it was literally Jeff O'Toole. Just remembered it.
Jeff Hotel,
So
that's it. Yeah.
yeah, so
Love that
Jeff, and
guy.
then you had someone in the UK, I believe, but there were just pockets of these We Are Change chapters carrying the torch and covering all the important topics. These days, I think Jeff is on doing some other things in life, but me and Luke I think, are the only ones left, kind of holding the doing work out there in the public. But
And
shout
you
out to
guys
my We
do
Are Change
coordinate from
Colorado
time
guys
to
too.
time?
What's that?
You coordinate with Luke from time to time?
Yes, but not super often. We're really infrequent when we meet up or work on projects together. It's been years since I've worked on something with him, but we've always shared, contacts and resources and things.
That's cool. Well, maybe in a month or two, we'll circle back and maybe I'll try to get Luke on if you can get me in. That'd be cool. I don't have his contact. I mean, I could probably DM him or something, but I know he's
Yeah, sure.
pretty busy.
I can shoot him a
But
message.
yeah, so let's have a look at this clip here, real quick. I'll switch screens here real quick, and then we'll go to this clip. And so you are here at the Orange County, Florida, not to be confused with Orange County, California. And is it self-explanatory, or would you like to just give it a little
Yeah,
intro?
just real quick. This is actually, you'll see it being spliced. I gave two speeches exactly the same, one in Orlando and one in my county, Orange County, just to hit them both with the same thing. But we ended up giving 20 or so of these speeches across the state. But this was essentially kind of the first one I gave to lay the groundwork when the lawsuit came
This
down.
literally got Fluoride out of your water.
Yeah, this process of speaking at 20 plus of these meetings, in different
You're
cities.
a fucking hero, man. You're a hero, man. That's what we got to learn. We got to learn this stuff, man, because everyone pays attention to, the global politics or, the, federal politics or who's running for president. But in reality, that whole thing it's such a heavy train. It's moving. There's so much momentum and so much money behind that thing. It's really hard to tweak that train. But in your local community, you can actually have a lot more power and a lot more change. Let's watch this clip now. I really appreciate what you do, man.
For the last 8 years, I've spoken in front of the Orlando City Council, the Orlando Utilities Board, and my state representatives in this room, actually, in regards to water fluoridation. I explained how fluoride is a neurotoxin that lowers the IQ of children and how the practice was really a form of mass medication that we were administering the public without informed consent. Unfortunately, my concerns were ignored as local leaders chose to trust the experts and said the science was settled. Well, fast forward to today, the science has changed and caught up with what we have been saying for those years prior. In a historic and unprecedented ruling, the federal court has deemed fluoride to pose an unreasonable risk to children, specifically citing lower IQ. After the ruling was made, a public health dentist was questioned and admitted, "We don't have the science, and that's because of poor decisions made more than 20 years ago. The conspiracy theory folks win the game on this one, and we have lost, let's face it." So in the end, it wasn't safe and effective. And look, I'm not here to rub it in your faces, but we're not simply talking about going over budget here. We are talking about administering the public a neurotoxin for decades. And a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens were screaming from the rooftops with the very science cited in the court ruling. We were ignored, sometimes ridiculed and censored. So you can imagine our frustration being on record warning you of the very things that happened. Let this be a reminder that no matter how educated you may be, what position you hold in society, we never blindly trust the science. It is just as easy to buy a scientist as it is a politician. A federal court has ordered the EPA must act in eliminating this risk to children. And within 24 hours, the first 2 communities in New York announced the removal of fluoride from the public's water supply. Communities in Florida, Utah, and Texas have all followed suit. That's why today I'm calling on the Orange County Commissioners and the Orlando City Council to halt the practice of water fluoridation immediately. A federal judge has ruled, based on science, that fluoride is harming children's brains. So why on earth would we wait for the EPA to act when we can stop harming them today? And if you're wondering about how you're going to protect the public's teeth, respectfully, first of all, that's not your job. And I have data comparing the fluoridated to non-fluoridated communities showing there is no significant difference. And if people are really that concerned, they can always supplement fluoride on their own time. But this one-size-fits-all government mandate does need to stop. Let's do what Winter Springs and Castleberry have been doing for decades, and let's do what Collier County did back in February. Let's end the practice of water fluoridation today.
Awesome. Great job. So yeah, man, that's amazing work. I can't believe you actually achieved that. That is really amazing. And it gives me hope.
Yeah, man. And then like you said, I appreciate that. And it's federal is a lot harder for us to have an effect on. The local is really where we can make change. You know, and sometimes we went in there and it fell on deaf ears. So we went to the city or county that was willing to listen.
I know how that goes.
Yeah.
They just ignore us all the time. It's so annoying.
What's crazy is I was ignored for almost a decade. And then with this lawsuit and in this post-COVID world.
Over the last 8 years, I've spoken in front of.
They were going, oh my gosh, forced medical treatments against your will. I feel like we just went through this with COVID. So this light bulb went off. So if it wasn't for the post-COVID sort of light bulbs, if it wasn't for RFK Jr., who I have to give credit to, making his statements about fluoride, Joseph Ladapo, our Surgeon General, sticking his neck out for this, and the lawsuit, without those things, it wouldn't have had the same result. We wouldn't have had cities where we walk in and just 3 of us showed up and they're like, yeah, we'll take it right out of the water. We're like, what? I used to get laughed out of these rooms. And then the Florida Surgeon General started showing up and speaking with us and saying the same points as us. So it was really like an unprecedented atmosphere of working with my city council members when I've used to been next speaker, please, you know, or laughed out of the room. Yeah. So it was really rewarding.
Yeah, I've been there, man. You know, like they're doing this. It's not even a big deal, but it's just part of the way they go. So basically they're taking away all of our normal open spaces and they're turning them into like their pay for play thing because of, you said this is not just overspending on a budget, which they've just overspent the budget here in San Diego so bad that now they're basically charging everyone to do anything. So it used to be that the trash fees were rolled in as part of the general fund and part of your property taxes. And that's been for 100 years now. And so they go, oh, so they tricked everybody into paying a new fee, but they still are charging the original fee in the original taxes. That's one thing. And then now they're putting in parking meters everywhere. So we have all these beautiful parks in San Diego. No, you used to live out here, didn't you, at one point? Or was it just the Orange County thing?
No, I've been in Florida my whole life.
Yeah. So in San Diego, we have these beautiful parks and they've been free. They were built like back in the day when the cities used to actually build things for the people. And so beautiful park, been able to go for over 100 years. I was actually one of the World's Fair places called Balboa Park, and it's been open to the public. Anybody comes to town, I'm like, go to this place. It's great. They've decided now they're going to put parking meters in all over the place there. And so 200 people showed up in person. And these were grandmothers, these were art students, these were school people, these were me and patriots. And I mean, it was the broadest spectrum I'd ever seen. 2 people who were obviously shills were like, I think it's a good idea. Then they went to the phone calls. 200 people called in on phones and 2 people were for it and 200 against. So it was 400 against 4 people. And they went, and it passes. And they just pass it. And everyone's like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? And I told them, I said, watch, because most of these people never been in one of these meetings before. I go, you want to see? You think they're going to listen? Watch. And then right after they were done, they go, next on the docket, how about putting parking meters in surrounding the park? Passes. And then next week, that now they're just 1 week passes by and they're like, let's put them down at the beach now. So now they're going to charge everyone. Normally you just go to the beach and you hang out, you surf, do whatever. No, that's going to cost you money now too. And then pretty soon I tell people, I'm like, dude, you're going to have parking meter outside your house. Like these people are
that's crazy,
pathological psychopaths. It's just amazing that what they do.
Yeah,
So I'm really,
Sorry, go
Just
ahead.
so happy. I'm just so happy you've had a positive reaction to this. This is so good.
Oh, don't get me wrong, man. And I feel you. I've been in there where we've had the room full and they've completely vote against us. But I will say we filled the room with fluoride stuff every now and then. In Melbourne, I think there was over 50 people. It went till 1 a.m. It was a 5-1 vote to take it out. So it's definitely doable. Sometimes you don't need an army of people. If you have your facts straight, you can have some people that are well spoken and you build those relationships with your council members, you can get it done. I didn't have any experience with politics or any of this stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to take some leaf out of your book there and try to get back in there and get this done with some of my local patriots, because we trust me, we've told them about it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's the same thing. They're just like, okay, crazy man.
Yep.
Well,
so now not only can you all use Florida, point to us, say, look what Florida did. Why can't we do that? XYZ.
Yeah.
You also have Stand for Health Freedom, which is the organization I worked closely with on the fluoride battle. If you go to standforhealthfreedom.com or reach out to me, I can give you the toolkit. It's a step-by-step process of how to contact your local council members, how to and encourage them about the fluoride situation and exactly what we did so that no one has to reinvent the wheel. So make sure that you share that with anybody that wants to get it. It's called the Fluoride Toolkit, and it's at standforhealthfreedom.com.
Beautiful. And if you would, when this is over, just leave it in the comments, because at least as many, if not probably twice as many people watch the stream after it's live. I do like going live though, because even like I say, sometimes people say, I never see your stuff because it's hidden on the algorithm. For whatever reason, when I go live, they do actually let people know when I'm live. So that's why I like to go live. And by the way, speaking of which, if you guys could please share this stream, and more people will see it and more people will come here, and then I can get good guests on like Justin. So do you want to segue into what's going on in the modern world now, and how do you think we can segue to this Stu Peters thing here? You want to do that, or you want to talk about current events and other things before that?
No, I mean, we can jump right into it if you want. I mean, as far as current events, I mean, what's more current right now than the sort of implosion of the conservative movement, this whole Jeffrey Epstein, Charlie Kirk thing? I think the number one issue until it gets addressed is going to be this whole Israel elephant in the room. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it's because I went on Stu Peters, and I was actually on there talking about vaccine damage that was happening to my wife because she had a blood transfusion. She never got the vaccine, but she had a blood transfusion, and she ended up getting pericarditis. And so I actually talked to several of the doctors, and I'm like, we don't know why she hasn't. I'm like, could it be vaccinated blood? And a lot of them are like, yeah, it could be. Like, I literally had 2 of the doctors admit that that's probably what it was. Now we weren't in the position, and plus they don't mark vaccinated versus unvaccinated, but she had probably 6 units of different people's blood. So at that point you do the math, you're getting spike protein in there somewhere. So I was telling them my wife was in the hospital for a month, and it was a very harrowing story. And it was, Stu being a big anti-vaxxer and, doing the documentaries about it and such. Yeah. So I'm on there and he's like, it's the Jews. And I'm talking about my wife here, Stu. And then over time, it has started to become more and more obvious. They say your masters are who you cannot criticize, and it does seem you can criticize anyone on planet Earth except for this one particular group of people. You can criticize Trump, you can burn the American flag, you can do anything, but if you burn the Israel flag or if you criticize Israel, then all of a sudden you're an anti-Semite. And it's like, I mean, one thing if they were just building an annoying Lego park in your town, but instead they're actually committing this giant genocide, and it's like they're like, well, if you don't like that means you're anti-Semitic. It's quite a racket, quite a grift they've got themselves going on.
It really is. And like you said, this was a taboo, forbidden topic for many, many years. I just said the other day, I told someone I bet my life savings that 13 years ago when I stumbled into this information, I would have never dreamed that this would be a mainstream topic now. I would never dream that Donald Trump and all these people would have to address it. The Israel question, have it the center of the Charlie Kirk discussion. It's just really crazy. So it just shows that like the exponential kind of can of worms that have been opened since COVID. I was like, oh, wow, we're going to get fluoride with this too. Great. And then we got a chemtrail bill in Florida. Now we've got people talking about Israel. I just never thought it was going to happen this fast. So I'm grateful
Yeah.
for it. You know, we just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And so, like, how much did you have faith that Trump was actually going to kind of release the Epstein files and maybe stand up to Israel, or did you have no faith that that was going to happen? And now it's just becoming painfully obvious that he's really either bought off or blackmailed or something going on where he just can't really cross that line. What do you think's going on with that?
Yeah, so I was never really a Trump supporter or Trump voter. I got a glimmer of hope when he gave RFK a position because I've been fighting GMOs, vaccines, GMO mosquitoes, fluoride, all this stuff, right? The health stuff. RFK was also fighting that stuff alongside me in his own way this whole time. So I've always kind of seen him as like, you've been kind of draining the swamp on the side this whole time, doing what us activists have been doing. So I was hopeful for that. And then when he starts saying he's going to release the Epstein files and the JFK files, and it's his second term, he's got nothing to lose, I thought we might get him. I never had any hope in him going against Israel.
Well, I mean, even in the first term, he was when he was going against Hillary, he's like, you know, Bill's got a lot of problems on that Epstein Island. You know, he's going to have a lot of problems. Bill's on the island. So he made it one of his campaign platforms way back then. And then he hires Kash Patel, who made it his whole life story that he was going to release him. And Dan Bongino, he said he was going to do it, only to finally get to the very end of the thing. And it's like, there is, you know, he killed himself.
No files.
He killed himself.
Yeah.
There is no files. I got 30,000 files of child porn and people and people, Jeffrey Epstein raping children on my desk. It's horrific. I mean, well, what I meant to say, it's just
a week later, what desk?
It's commercial. What do you mean commercial? How can you have commercial child porn? What do you mean commercial? There's no such thing as commercial child porn. Okay. That is, every single piece of child porn is a felony, is a law broken, is a child being defiled. And then people say, well, Trump's not involved in it. You know, he's just covering up for the people to do. And I'm like, I think you're just as bad then. And then other people, including Alex Jones, like, well, he's using the blackmail. He's taking the gun and he's pointing it at the deep state. So it's like, that's equivalent to, you've got fentanyl coming in your town and the government's done this, the FBI, CIA with crack cocaine. They're putting people in jail forever. Meanwhile, they're dealing the crack cocaine themselves. Right. So it's like, not only that, so you're like, we have to get rid of the scourge. It's disgusting. It's horrible. And then you go bust a fucking drug house and you go, well, I mean, there's a lot of money's worth of crack there. Like, we got to sell this shit. Right.
Right.
You know, I was just watching a movie, White Boy Rick. Have you seen that? Have you seen that movie?
I don't think I've seen that. No.
So it's apparently a true story. It's about this kid, and he grew up in the ghettos. I think it was like Brooklyn or something like that. He's 15 years old, and because his dad was like selling guns that were a little iffy or whatever with silencers or something like that, they lent on. They're like, we're gonna like arrest your dad if you don't like do these couple of buys for us, and they ended up paying him money. They're like giving him like ounces of crack and teaching him how to brew the crack and teaching him how to get crackheads and do the whole thing, and basically giving him, and they let him keep the money from all this crack dealing when he was 15 years old. And then later on, his family ended up going broke and they were at the rock bottom. And he basically decided like, okay, well, I got to start selling crack and so they taught him how to do crack. They got all of his friends on crack. And then when he started selling crack, they put him in jail for the rest of his life, 30 years. So, so then they go, oh, the child porn, we got to get rid of that. It's a scourge. This is horrific. And they're like, well, now it's our child porn. Now it's our blackmail. And so you're just as evil.
Just as bad.
And I mean, some of these other people who are doing it, maybe that's all they've got. This is some little thing, or they grew up MK Ultra and that's like their life now. It's all they know. But I mean, you're like a wealthy businessman. You have other options. It's like, and you're like, blackmail, child porn. Right. Sounds like a good gig. I can get in this racket. Is there money in it? It's absolutely unacceptable. And I can't put the two together. And I don't think there's any 5G chess, and I don't think they're trusting the plan. And my popcorn is, if I ever had any, is completely stale. And it's just horrific, man. And so, yeah, okay, let's get into the JQ. And so here's the thing. This is what I couldn't believe, because I haven't seen you in so long. Like, you just don't show up on any of my feeds. And then you popped up with I was just researching some stuff about Charlie Kirk, and then I saw you again. I was like, there he is. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, he's on Stu Peters. He's over here. He's passing these laws. He's getting all this shit done. And you just don't exist.
I know.
So
Gotta love it, right?
it sucks, man. So I'm here to help big you up and get people out there. Please give him a follow, man. This guy's a fucking hero. All right. So let's see. I think this is clip 1 here. I'll bring it up for us in the window. How much is that clip in the window? And here we go. And should we play the whole clip and then comment after? Or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, sure. There's a part 1 and part 2 of the Stu Peters thing. The part 2
I believe
is probably
this is part
better,
1,
but
right? You want to do part 2?
Part 2 is
part
a
2?
little bit better. I mean, they're kind of in chronological. We talk about some good stuff in both, but either way.
Yeah, let's do it. I like Stu. You know, a lot of people talk a lot of shit about Stu, and I think maybe sometimes he goes over the edge on some things, but it's like desperate times, desperate measures. Some people have to be the shock troops, and then other people have to be, the other people. So I got respect for Stu. Here we go. We're going to play this clip.
The other day, Justin made a great post on Facebook, and he said that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, everyone is arguing about the response of Erica Kirk and Candace Owens, when in reality, they should be talking about the fact that Charlie Kirk himself was speaking out against Jewish donors and Jewish interests in the days and the weeks and the months leading up to his death. He was pulling the plug on Turning Point USA's relationship with the Jewish people, and not just with the Jews, but with Benjamin Netanyahu and the state of Israel itself. He rejected $150 million in funding that was offered by the sitting prime minister of a foreign state. And now that Charlie Kirk is out of the way, Turning Point USA is running right back into the arms of those very same people that he was trying to disassociate with, running right back into their wallets. Israel had the motive. Israel definitely had the means. More of that pattern recognition thing, Israel obviously had the precedent, and all of the other narratives out there here are just distractions. I mentioned Justin Roberts was in the green room waiting. He joins us now for more on this. Justin, thank you so much for coming back. Always appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Stu. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's very obvious what happened here. Do you agree?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious to me in the first few days. But like I said, those of us that study the keyword you used, pattern recognition, you realize what's playing out here. Then we see the text messages of Charlie abandoning the pro-Israel cause. You know, I remember very vividly, I didn't watch Charlie. I wasn't an avid supporter. I'm more of a libertarian kind of non-voting guy. And I remember the Tucker Carlson speech at TPUSA, and a light bulb went off. And I thought, that's not allowed. Like, TPUSA, this massive pro-Zionist organization, is letting Tucker just bash Israel and talk about their influence over American politics. I said, man, that's going to get reined in. Little did I know that may have been really the turning point for the whole situation, because it was July of 2025 when that happened. That was when they had their meetings. This is when the attacks came on him, calling him an anti-Semite. Just a month later, they have the emergency intervention in the Hamptons, their last-ditch effort to rein Charlie back in, and they were unsuccessful. And, just a few weeks later, he's dead. So it was very clear to me, and as we see more stuff come out, it's becoming very clear, like you said, who has the means and the motive? I mean, there's very few people that can keep our intelligence agencies quiet, our local police quiet. There's only one group. There's only one government, and it's not the government of Zimbabwe or Australia. We all know it's Israel. I mean, you can really take it back to Charlie's questioning of October 7th or Jeffrey Epstein. This was October 2023. And then it was just more and more discussing this. But that pushback they gave him in the end was like, it's like Truman. What happened when Truman, every time he tried to go on vacation, they're like, oh, here's another excuse why you can't go. It just made him more curious. Calling Charlie an anti-Semite, he was one of the most careful people of posing the questions in the respectful way. They couldn't call him crazy. They couldn't say he was a Jew-hating, terrorist-loving, Holocaust denying. They couldn't do any of that to him because he was very careful. And unfortunately, that probably is what led to his demise. I remember thinking, just like Harrison Smith said, you can't be that influential for such a young group of conservative men. That is the one group that Israel can't afford to lose. And that's the one they're losing. They've already lost the left. They've lost the eastern part of the world. They've lost the libertarian. They've lost the conspiracy people. They've lost every group except for, the boomers maybe, but they're fading away. So they're focusing on the young, and that's what Charlie had. And I remember when that clicked to me, it was like, there's your motive. When he started asking the correct questions the correct way and going off the reservation, it wasn't going to go well. And you really got to give it to people like Dave Smith or Tucker for going out there and doing that and putting that information out there, Charlie giving them that platform. You could see it. Even his talk with those Gen Z students he did, I think that was also in July or August, right before his death. He sat down with Gen Z and said, they don't believe me that an earthquake is coming on this issue. So I want you to tell them. And I personally believe in July is when the Google searches were made, the unexplained Google searches for surgeons and the Utah hospital, unexplained. Then they have the intervention in August, didn't work, and that's when they probably greenlit the assassination on him.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Harrison Smith, because I was actually going to do that. I was watching the beginning of that clip. I didn't get to that part in it. Yeah, the whole Jewish question thing happened before Candace Owens even got involved, and I'm good friends with Harrison, and I have his personal phone number. And basically, when he posted that video, that he had that tweet, that, oh, Charlie Kirk is worried that Israel's going to take him out, and then he dies. So when I posted it, not being like number one Stu Peters, anti-Jewish guy, people would be like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, look, man, if I tell my friend I'm afraid my wife's going to kill me, and then the next week I end up dead, that's the number one suspect. It doesn't mean she did kill me. There could be other reasons. But what the cops always do you know anyone that was he saying that he's worried about anybody? It's like bing, 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 bing. I mean, it's just a fact right there. And so a lot of people credit Candace with that, but actually it was Harrison who really put it out. And I actually called Harrison like the 2 days after it went down, and I had him on the phone. We talked for about an hour, and he was telling me the whole thing. And I was like, dude, you know what? You should actually you should get a federal lie detector guy and turn it into a thing on your shows, because people think you're making this stuff up. They're like, oh, Harrison knows a guy. Yeah, okay, trust me, bro. And he's like, dude, I know the guy. I just can't give you his name because I don't want to dox the guy. So then it all comes out, and then Candace says it, and then people are like, oh yeah, sure. And then she brings the receipts, and then people are like, well, those are fake. And then Turning Point themselves comes out and goes, oh, okay, those are real. Those are real receipts. So I find it strange now that all of a sudden we're back to Macron's wife's penis. So actually it wasn't Israel. It was actually France, the Foreign Legion. And there just happened to be an Israeli assassin that's part of the team. How are you feeling about this now?
Yeah, so I'm not really, I think everybody's kind of wondering where the France piece comes in, because it looks like there's more of a motive for Israel to take out Charlie and maybe more of a motive for France to take out Candace. But maybe they all work together. I think sometimes we talk about the CIA and the Mossad like they're that much different. Maybe we talk about the US and France and Israel like there's a big difference. I am starting to think that it may have been a joint. Maybe they had a cup of tea together and said, well, listen, Israel's biggest problem right now is Charlie turning on us. And France was like, well, our biggest problem is Candace. And not because Brigitte has a penis. It's because of whatever is also beneath that can of worms. We got to remember, Alex Jones, Stu Peters, no big voices got attacked when they said Michelle Obama was a man. There's something deeper here with this Macron situation. So I don't know if there's some MK Ultra presidency. I don't know if they're linked to the Nazis. Those things have been thrown around, and maybe that's true. But it sounds to me like France and Israel had a vested interest in getting rid of both of them. And maybe this is just how it played out. She's also claiming that they had plans to kill her a year ago. Why did that plug get pulled or postponed? I'm not sure, but it's a really strange pieces to the puzzle.
I'm a little
now,
skeptical,
right?
to be honest. To be honest, I'm a little skeptical about it. I think it's just a little too convenient that all of a sudden the entire season 2 gets linked to season 1. And back to Candace and Macron's penis, and basically she went on to say that the reason why Charlie's dead is because it was supposed to be her. It's like, so okay, real quick, it's Egypt, Israel, the CIA, the FBI, the Latter-day Saints, it's the Foreign Legion, it's 3 or 4 planes, it's a hangar, it's several cars, it's the crew, it's the guy with the mic, it's the guy with the camera, it's George Zinn, it's the gay dude, it's the blonde guy. I mean, is this how you do an op? I mean, isn't the whole idea when you do black ops to kind of not involve too many moving parts to like, so it's like they have that many people together, like 1,000 people ready to kill Candace, and they're like, let's just kill Charlie, and then let's let Candace go on and go on and on and on and on about it and tie it back into Macron for a fucking, I mean, if you think they couldn't take her out, it strains my imagination, to be honest. And here's the thing is because it's really weird because online, because I was all about on board in the beginning because Candace was like, it's Israel. And I was like, not that it has to be Israel. It's just that it agreed with the knowledge that I had about it. I mean, I went to the Charlie Kirk Memorial. I was there. I mean, I was moved. I was crying at the thing. And so it was very hard for me to like start like hating on Charlie's wife and all that. I just couldn't go there. I was just like, I was emotional about the whole thing. I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. If you want to go ahead, there's a lot of weirdness there. But it's just, to me, it's just very strange that now it's not, it was like, everyone's like, yeah, it's Mossad, it's Mossad, it's Mossad. Well, actually it's Macron and it's the Foreign Legion. And it's this, and it was really supposed to be her, but then they decided just to do Charlie instead and then have her go on and turn it into a whole nother season. I mean, if they're going to just start taking people out, why not just take her out? I mean, no offense. I'm not asking for that.
Right. Sure.
I like Candace. And part of me thinks that you got to think about where the information's coming from, because the information that she was getting from the text messages, she wasn't technically in those text threads. So that was people inside Turning Point, which she distrusts, and now they're feeding her this information. And so it's kind of like they're now in control of the dripping of the information. And so I could see personally, just as a conspiracy theorist, that they give her a little bit of good information that is doubtable, and then they go, no, prove it. Doubtable, prove it. And then so they basically centralize her and then almost suck all conspiracy theorists are now just like worshiping Candace. Like she is the Charlie Kirk investigation. She has all the information. Everything she knows is true. And so once I start seeing people like blank stare and start worshiping people, then I just automatically have this like reaction to the same thing I did with Elon, is why I'm like, whoa, guys, come on now. Now we're getting crazy. So I'm not saying, sorry to go on, but I'm not saying that Candace is bad. And it's very hard to find someone that actually would even question Candace that isn't an Israeli shill, because I go down the comments looking for anyone that will agree with me, and everyone's like, she's crazy. And I just go to their page and I go, Israel. And then it's like, Israel's amazing. Israel has this.
You don't have legitimate criticism, people.
It's every one of them is like an Israeli shill.
It's like I have legitimate.
I'm the only person who can hate Israel and question Candace at the same time.
It's like I have legitimate criticism for Biden or Trump or whatever, but the people that are like most mad at them are mad at them for all the wrong reasons, for like the fake news reasons. So but I think the thing that you really like have to the moral of your story is that we always have to double check and question Candace. We can't just worship her. And I really hope that she is doing her due diligence with whatever leaker is in TPUSA. Because if they're feeding her false info or they are a plant, then she's being led down the wrong path. So we've got to always check that stuff. And I think in the end, time will tell, what's going to play out here. And we'll find out. There will be other leaks and other bits of information to tell us if this French thing is true, how it all connects. And I think we'll just have to wait. And because we're still early in all of this, right? She just revealed this a few days ago.
I don't really necessarily have a problem with Candace. And like I said, I think if there is anything wrong there, I could see it because she's so inside it. She's so involved. She's so in love with Charlie. And it would be very easy. She believes, she's getting spoken to and dreams and stuff. It's very easy to just kind of feed her and then take her along and then suck everyone who's researching it all and just basically Pied Piper us into a dead end is what I'm afraid of. And I'm also, again, not hating on Candace. I'm just trying to remind the average conspiracy theorist out there, just remain skeptical. That's all I'm asking. Just remain skeptical. That's all.
Yeah, that's a good
point. Please don't blank stare out and just be like, Candace, which I've seen. And like, I literally have friends who are full-on conspiracy theorists, through the whole thing, like, oh, you're counseling people now you're woke, right? And then a few weeks later, they're like, if anybody's questioning Candace, you just unfollow them. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you're getting a little little out there now, bro. Like I can't question her now. Like she's like
sound
Mother
like the
Mary
left.
or something. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, guys.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And I honestly, if I was to bet money on whether Candace is going to get to the bottom of this, I would bet $1,000. No offense, that she is not going to get to the bottom of it. That's what I would bet. However, I would much rather lose that $1,000 and have her be right and have her get to the bottom. And when people say let her cook, I'm saying let her cook. Let her cook. I'm not trying to stop her cooking. I'm just saying don't let her cook your mind and stay crispy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the odds aren't in our favor of her getting to the bottom of it. And how many historical false flags have we got to the bottom of or gotten admission from the federal authorities? Never. So it would be an unprecedented, very surreal thing if we were to crack this one wide open and get an admission and fire the government. But I don't see it happening either. I'm with you. I'm glad to take $1,000 home, but it's not in our favor.
Yeah, like I said, I would love to pay someone that money. It would be like, oh, I'm right. I'll just like, I tell you. But if I'm wrong, I'll be like, dude, hell yeah, man. I will hand over that $1,000 right away if anyone wants to take the bet. And we have to have a time frame. It has to be like at least within a year or something. We'll figure out someone secondary to put the money together. But it's more. I will put my money where my mouth is my point. I don't need the bet, but if you want to call me on it, I will do that bet with you, and we'll have a third party handle it. Just because I'm not just hyperboleing here. That's how strongly I feel about this. But I do want to get to the bottom of it, and I want everybody to keep looking into it. That's why I'm so happy. We'll play this other clip, and then we'll get into you actually going, once again, being the man in the arena and going physically to the site to look at it yourself. That's what I'm talking about. This guy's awesome, man. You guys gotta follow him. If you're not following him, I'm gonna tell you one more time, and then reshare this space. We're doing good now. We're up over 1,000 live viewers. That's really good, guys. So thanks, I appreciate that. That makes me feel happy, and our guest happy too, that he's not sitting here staring into shouting at a well somewhere, or equivalent to speaking at a city council where nobody listens to you. But it's been proven wrong. They do listen.
A fluoride-free well.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Very well put. So here we go. Here's part 2 of that same thing. So right where we were was you. Where do we end off on the last one? I forgot from my Jag. Do you remember how the other one kind of ended up and how we segue to this next one?
Yeah, I'm just talking to Stu again. It's just a kind of a continuation of the conversation about who probably killed Charlie and why.
Okie dokie. Let's look at that. Yeah.
That's what I just really appreciate. Why we think people are reluctant to ask the uncomfortable questions surrounding this, because if it implicates Israel or our own government, a lot of people who are diehard Trump people, as you'll hear me explain, are it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I feel is this. It happens. It's like there's always a savior. It's like it's Elon or it's Trump, but then it's Elon. But then now the same people are like, you can't question Trump or you're not MAGA. Then they'll turn around and be like, well, you can't question Candace. It's like there's always like some line. And I'm always like trying to remind these same people. It's like, I feel like you and I were some of the few people that actually realized the psyop of COVID. And it seems to me throughout the years that it's like you have eventually all these people like, yeah, man, the vaccine totally lit, bro. And then the new psyop comes out and they just jump right on. You're like, it's another psyop, dude. Can you see it? It's like some people can see him and other people can't. Now I'm not always right, but it does have a very psyop-y feel. This whole track we're going down right now. One way or another was a psyop. I mean, we'll get into it here. We'll watch this clip. Here we go. Stu again. Hold it down.
He didn't shoot Charlie Kirk with a 30-06 from atop a building on the campus of UVU. And they're still running with this. It's the same story. What do you attribute people not just like pitchforks and torches and burning it all down? We want to know who's killing our people.
I think the biggest problem is because of who's in charge. And if you ask the uncomfortable question of this has been covered up, you have to look to the Trump administration. Well, that's who they've been championing and voting for and saying that's going to stop. Most of the people on the right's biggest fear is what? The Democrats. So if we start talking about Epstein or Charlie Kirk or Israel, this could really divide our party or mess up the Trump thing. They care so much about their party and their guy up there, their savior, that they're not willing to ask these uncomfortable questions. I mean, look at Kash Patel, these people going in there and doing a 180. You got Jack Posobiec and Kash Patel spent their career on podcasts talking about conspiracies and Epstein, but then their friend is killed and they just move on. It's actually pretty disgusting. I don't know how more people aren't pitchforking people like Kash and the close friends of Charlie and the TPUSA people, because it's just ridiculous. God forbid anything like this ever happens to me, you, or any of these other amazing truth tellers we know. I hope all of us go out and question the government narrative like we do all of them, and don't just go, oh, some lone shooter guy onto the weather. Look at this ballroom. Like, it's disgusting, honestly.
It really is.
We have to completely remove AIPAC and all foreign aid, put Bibi in jail if there's a means to do that. This is what has to happen. People have to do an America only.
Trump said he's going to intervene in that process.
Yeah, I know.
So you know what that means? That means American boots on the ground and going to war. They will intervene by taking us to war, because a wartime president cannot be investigated or go to jail. So that's why Israel and Netanyahu are incessant and they are obsessive about keeping us into these infinite forever wars.
Yeah, and that's what Donald Trump jokingly said about Miriam Adelson. I mean, these people love Israel more than America. So it's got to be such a hard line that it's America only, not first, asterisk, Israel, and then maybe Ukraine. And it's got to be only. I mean, like someone put in the little Charlie Kirk clip, one of the Gen Z students, he said, I liken it to our neighbor's house is on fire and so is ours, but we're going over to put their fire out before we fix ours. You know, we are sending all this money and influence. It would sexual blackmail, all this is going on for what? What are we getting out of it other than being drug into like a bar fight, which is actually a war in reality, every few years? I mean, Netanyahu's been selling us into Middle East wars since longer than I've been alive. So it has to stop. It has to be such a hard line and full stop and just completely cut off this pariah that has become a cancer of the world, really. Only silver lining to this whole thing is that we're in an unprecedented time of people waking up to Israel. I mean, it's on front and center stage. People are saying they're not going to vote for any AIPAC-funded candidates. I mean, this is sort of I have the full confidence that October 7th, Jeffrey Epstein and Charlie Kirk are the nail in the coffin for the Israel narrative. It has been flipped on its head, just like COVID did to the vaccination narrative, and it will never recover. There are endless amounts of parents filing for exemptions, taking their kids out of school, not getting these shots, people that believed in vaccines. So it's over for that. There will always be a small percentage that diehards that believe it. Have at it. Do your thing. But it's same things happening to Israel now. And it's been rewarding to watch, aside from all the children being blown up in Gaza, seeing Charlie Kirk get publicly executed. But it is nice to see this finally coming to a head, because just 2 to 3 years ago, it was still taboo to talk about.
Yeah, well, they say that things have to get bloody. You know, people have to see it coming to their front door, I guess, before they're going to wake up to it.
The noticing will continue, and they will never recover from this noticing. So just keep being the change you wish to see and expose the liars.
Thanks a lot for being with us. And
Perfect. Yeah, you just basically said everything I was saying there. So we're on the same page on that stuff, right?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I hate to, I'm not trying to like be on a high horse or act like we can predict the future, but when you study the pattern recognition, like me and Stu talk about, when these psyops come about, you see them for what they are pretty quickly. You know, I know people that don't study these things too much, but once they get a couple of them, they can go, oh, well, there's the little red flags. There's the agenda. There's the propaganda push. There's the fear trying to sell us into the end of the world, climate crisis, terrorism.
And there
viruses.
comes another psyop comes along. It's like, oh
Right.
no, this is different. It's like, no, it's a psyop. There's
We need like
a little
we need a Jim Brewer skit for that.
a little psyop. It's like, oh, hi guys, how you doing? I was like, hey, aren't you that psyop? No. Yeah, no, I'm not the psyop. It's like every day it's a new freaking hat, and it's the same freaking psyop. And it really blew me away, you know. Like right when October 7th happened, I called that they were psyoping that thing right away. It was because before even anything happened, the internet was flooded with these sick bastards. And all there was on the internet, the only piece of information there was a picture of gliders That's all that was out. And I looked everywhere, top to bottom, all over. There was just gliders. And it was like these animals, these filth, these pigs. And it was just like there was no footage of anything. And it was like already prepackaged. And then it was the 40 beheaded babies and then the rapes and all this. And the fact that then, the fact that they did the Hannibal directive and they blew up their own people. They blew up their own people in their own houses. And they're like, well, that's what we have to do. We can't have people being hostages, Meanwhile, they've got 57 trillion, prisoners. See, they're prisoners when they have them, and they're hostages when they have them. They're warriors on their side and they're terrorists on their side. It's just incredible, man. And I just saw that again, and I saw everybody once again. They just very same people. They're standing side by side with you on chemtrails and then a brand new psyop comes along, and these people who you've thought you've taught how to recognize these things go. And you're like, dude, no, it's another psyop. Don't do that. Don't fight it. Don't eat it. Don't touch it. And
that's what I used to make that joke. I'd be like, you guys, we're sitting around. You're telling me that they're lying about this. They're lying about that. You're lying about everything except for the situation in Gaza, except for the Israel narrative. I mean,
except
it's
for
just one that you haven't.
Kirk. And then now it's Epstein. It just never ends, man. It's crazy. Well, that's a great thing you did there on Stu. You laid it out perfectly, very eloquent as usual, an inspiration to us all. And then so it's perfectly segueing into some of these clips of you actually walking around the situation. I know you know that I have questions about the quote unquote trap door, which be like, it's not a trap door, it's a utility area. It's like, okay, well, there's still doors. There's still a room down there. It's like, does it matter what you call it? And they're like, it was there before. It's like, I never claimed that they put it there up for the day. I said, there's a place, there's a room. Is it possible someone could be down there? That's all. And people lose their minds on that, and they want. And I'm not claiming that I know it's a fact. I'm just saying it's something interesting, and it's very funny because what's the name of the guy, the head of the security? It slips my mind. The other day, he's like, "There is no trapdoor. There was no trapdoor, and there's no room." And it's like, now that got me going again. I'm like, I was about to just like kind of just let it go, and then he's like, there was no thing. He didn't come out and say, "Look, man." There's a utility closet down there, and we had some guys go down and check it out. There's nothing. It's fine. Instead, he just pretends it doesn't exist at all. It never happened. Just lie straight to your face. And then I'm like, well, now you got me wondering. So, yeah. So you went in there. Exactly. Let's see. Put these clips in
the other
line
day.
Here.
Justin made a great post on Facebook, and he said that
his name was Brian Harpole, is head of security.
Yeah, Brian Harpole. Yeah, Lion Brian. I call him Lion Brian, and he's like, well, we couldn't put drones up. I mean, we could. I mean, we put a little bitty drone.
Come on, Brian.
Like the Lion Brian. He's like, we put. Well, I mean, the media people put up a little bitty drone. I mean, how big of a drone did you need, bro? You just need a camera. And he's like, we can't have snipers up on the roofs. I mean, I just can't break the law. I can't break the law. It's like, did you need a sniper? You can actually open carry on that fucking on that campus. So you could have just had a dude on there. You could have had a guy with binoculars.
I've never done any security work or sniper work, and I myself would have common sense to go, when we arrive, we need to walk the campus and check all the vantage points.
Well, did you watch the whole video? He claims he did the whole thing, top to bottom. They were out there weeks in advance. He claims they drove the car from where it was to the hospital back and forth just to make sure if Charlie got shot that they would know off by heart how to get him to the hospital. Did you see that whole part?
Sure.
Yeah. And then he goes on about, spends half the show talking about how great his security team are. It's like, how did you get these guys? They're so good. He's like, I prayed him in. This is as good as you might want to try praying a little harder, bro. Cause I don't know if the news flash got to you, but Charlie's dead. You fucked up and you're on here telling everybody how great you are. So anyway, which one of these clips you want to do first? We put them in order, or I got them all here.
I figure either talking to the maintenance worker or the police officer, decent.
Which one's that? You know him visually. I slow down here. Is this now? This is
how he accessed the
rooftop.
This is how he got away.
How he got away. Is this the one where you talk to someone? No, definitely best
Probably
route.
one of the first ones I gave you. That's
Is it this one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is like pulling right up on where Charlie was with the so-called trapdoor, not trapdoors. By the way, I'm actually I got a guy who does underground electrical who's going to be talking. He claims these things that they actually call them vaults. And the things like this, because if you actually look down there, I don't know if you've seen Ian Carroll's video where he actually has video down in there. Did you see it?
Yep.
Which I wish he had said, "Hey, bro, what's down there?" But for whatever reason, he was too busy like sneaking his footage. I would have like sneaked the footage and then asked the dude a question. There's a guy working right there, but there could be a wall right here, but there also could be a giant opening because they have these. He points out that they have these vent pipes. They have to be vented legally to have these like utility pumps and stuff like that. So if you look down in there, not only is it big enough that you can see that hose is rolling around, keep in mind that this is where they store the pumps and the electrical and the shut off and all this stuff. And you have to be able to work on that. And you can't see any of that. So it's at least big enough to have all that you can't see. So it's fairly large down there. And so anyway, let's have a look at this clip here. So you want to put it in, or is it self-explanatory?
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I just happened to catch a worker, and this is my little small talk, try to get some information out of him.
Yeah. Okay, let's switch that.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, those trapdoors were not underneath the tent or underneath any of the tables. They were off to the left of where Charlie was sitting. The tent was where those bushes are, those little potter plants.
1 second. Yeah, that was another one of the debunkings. Is it wasn't like, because I never said he escaped down the hatch. That's not what I was saying. I was saying that there's a room underneath there. And if you watch the video that I made, like I say, I'm not claiming. The reality is nobody has produced a satisfactory reality of what has happened yet. When it comes to the gun, when it comes to the exit wound, when it comes to the bullet. But from what I'm looking at, the fact that there is a room under there, if you watch my video, you can see he goes like this. And the one guy says he's doing the decorticate pose. He loves saying decorticate because that's some word no one else knows. He does the decorticate pose, which is when you grasp like this, meaning something, your brainstem gets shut off or something. But in reality, you see he goes like this. He goes like this. His arms go like this. He goes like that. The bubble in his shirt goes like this. His neck goes like that. This goes like that. The thing goes off his neck up into the back this way. So his whole body in slow motion goes. Thing goes up flying. Something goes like this. You see this bubble in his shirt, and then you see his blood come out of his neck. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could have been shot from below if there is a void in the ground, which nobody wants to talk about. Anyway, so yeah, I know he's not sitting on top of the trapdoor. I've seen it over and over and over again, and I do appreciate you pointing that out.
Any idea why they paved over it so quickly?
They were doing it. They were going to do it anyways.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they just made a walkway across so the grass gets.
Probably gets pretty beat up, huh? Yeah, I noticed the ceiling was kind of falling out too.
That got hit with a machine when they were redoing this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they dug this down it was that low all the way across here so they could get big dope trucks and.
Oh, and they scraped it. Yeah, because I saw the piece hanging down and I was like, I didn't know what the heck hit the roof.
No, just construction. Man. Just construction. That's all.
Are they eventually going to open this courtyard?
That's all. That's all.
Yeah, we thought they were going to do it a long time ago.
Oh, really? What do you think about that whole thing that happened?
Tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Somebody lost an innocent life over words. So I don't know.
I know, man. Well, I think we all know that. I think the bigger question I think most people have is, are we being told the truth, about what happened? And unfortunately, increasingly, we got to ask that question here in this country.
All the time, right?
So.
Constant. Yeah. Yeah, lots of different theories out there.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, you have a good one.
So you can tell there that he's I got the vibe that he was leading on, that he kind of agreed with me a little more than he was willing to say. Probably thought I was filming, but it's interesting. We've also had the conversations about when it was paved over and why, and the text messages have come out. I just sent you a text message of an image because I've got the same question as you. If that cavity is big enough to get someone down under there, what if they can climb up underneath in that fountain area and pop out one of those fountain areas and have a totally hidden line of sight? So it just makes you wonder how big that area is down there. And those are some of the questions I wanted to get answered. I also talked to a police officer. We don't have to show that one, but same type of conversation. These people agree that there's not a lot of transparency in this world anymore, and that we don't have any trust in these institutions. So they were kind of friendly to my curiosity at the site.
See, so some people were saying, did you see this? I forget if it was on Candace or it was something, but I do believe that this was actually, I forget where I saw it, so you'll have to help me. But they actually said that they hit up people right away, right afterwards, and were trying to get this done in a rush, and that the contractors weren't actually lined up. And there was some communication about like, oh, they can keep their mouths shut or something like that. But for me, I just don't buy that this thing was, if this thing was just ready to do before, then it was truly set up to be what it was. There's no way if I have a construction, even if my house was getting remodeled tomorrow and then someone shot my wife or something, it's like, all right, well, it's like before anybody even knows what's going on, like you don't want to just go ahead and get your forensics done. It's like, right off the bat, you're just tearing everything up. You're moving the chair, you're moving the camera, you're taking the tent down, you tear this up. And then behind him, that's also I supposedly they hit it with the roof with the thing. Maybe they did. But the only reason why you would tear up this ground is if there was something nefarious going on in this dirt. There was a hole, or there was an opening, or there could have been technically you could have had just a small hole and you just sat right over it, and they could have just went pop like that right through the chair. If you look at the video I made, there's actually a weird white hole in the bottom of the chair. Now, I don't know if that's a mark or what it is, but then he moves the chair. It's like,
and like you said,
I don't know.
And like you said, you've got questions about what were they doing with that grass? Why were the security guards instructed to comb the grass? Brian Harpole goes on the podcast and claims that they were looking for victims. There were no people left in the grass. They were specifically looking for something. What were they looking for? Something the shooter may have dropped, bullet fragments that would expose what really happened, the little hole the man popped up out from. I don't know what they were doing. But I think you and me are on the right track to ask these questions about these openings and these, these discrepancies.
And by the way, if anybody's listening out there, that apparently I love the number of $1,000. $1,000. If anyone gets me footage inside that container, it's underneath those access panels, I'll give you $1,000. Hit me up in the DM if you're planning on doing it. I will give you the exact specifications of what I want done. And then, and that will be something. So DM me, and that is a reward I will put out there for that information. And because if I just found out, because also if there's a wall right there, now I'm going to want to say, is it an old wall? Because they're like, why did they even need it open when they were changing off the blocks? Like if I'm just paneling, doing work around something, I don't necessarily need to open up that panel to do that. And they had it open the whole time for some reason. Not sure why.
I thought maybe there's an electrical outlet and they were using it to plug in, but why would you put an outlet down underground where water, if it ever flooded, water would be in? So it doesn't make sense that it was using electrical.
So this one my buddy was telling me is that he's going to be on Monday, is that these are these utility vaults, and the reason why it doesn't really make sense is because we think of it from a standard standpoint of why are you going to have your electrical and your pump and all this underground? But they actually have these precast concrete, they call them vaults. I forget the name of it, but it's some kind of utility vault. It's a UAV or something, and it's utility access vault or something. And they have these pre-manufactured concrete vaults that they set in the ground so they don't leak. So that's and he says they can be pretty freaking huge, and that they have to be vented. And if you look at the vents, the size of those vents that are obviously snorkel vents for air, because the reason why they have to do that is there's a whole kind of OSHA around it, because they're down in the ground. They can have gases and other things that can be problematic down there. So they have to be vented. If you see these vents, there's a vent all the way over to the left,
Yep.
and there's a vent all the way over to the right. And so if that's any indication, it might not be. Maybe they're doing a little thing, but I mean, if I'm putting a snorkel, it usually just goes straight up, you know? So, as Candace would say, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah,
Everything's
it
weird.
is.
And so and it pisses me off because I have friends that are in the conspiracy world and they're like, just let it go. And then Brian Harple's like, it never happened. Then I'm like, now you're tripping me out, bro. Now I want to see it. I want to, if I could prove that it's just a little hole and there's nothing there and it looks old school and okay, fine, then I'll just move on. But like I said, I'm about to just kind of let it go until fucking Brian Harple tells me it doesn't even exist. It's like, now I'm tripping, you know? So anyway, back to that. So that's great footage.
And that's the reason why I think it was important for me to go by and get this footage. I wanted to make sure that I just got some clean footage of everything. So if we ever need to reference it, if we go back and go, oh man, did anyone ever get a spot of this part of the grass or this door? I could say, oh yeah, I did have that. So some of these videos may not have any earth-shattering info, but it's just, we can add it to our collection and hopefully something can come from it. You know, that was my only goal.
Well, so I noticed that from everybody that I saw that went there, there was the recurring theme of how close everything really is and how easy it would be to see someone on that rooftop, right? So was that what you got struck with? I think you mentioned it in one of these videos, but I'm pretty sure that did you notice that how small the environment was? It looks like it's this big laid out thing, right?
Yeah, and especially as a Floridian, it really blew me away because I'm used to everything being super flat. So it was a very like crazy different levels. Like you could be in one area and be in the grass, but you're level with another roof. So some people could see right onto that roof where that shooter was. So when I got there, it made me realize, like you said, it's much smaller. It also made me realize why they pushed for this outdoor venue, because it's the perfect place to hide people, where you could be in one place and there's so many tiered levels below you. Only people can see you if they have a far enough vantage point, you know? So it makes sense why they chose this outdoor venue to hide people.
Well, you know, I went to see Charlie a couple of months before that. I saw him here in San Diego, and we had a pretty much a similar kill box set up. And I was trying to scrub back through my footage, but I was there with my buddy Luke Slywaker, who does a camera work and he does his own activist work, and he's a great dude. He was we were saying, like, who are those guys on the roof? Like, it looked like there were snipers, and I just kind of assumed, like, are these the good? You just assumed that they were the good guy snipers or something, or that there was people up on the roof. But I noticed people on the roof then, and there was like multiple roofs. It wasn't quite like that where you're on a walkway that is then a roof that is then underneath it. Like it wasn't like that. You know, these are like legitimate roofs above, but there was like 10 separate buildings all at different heights and trees in front of buildings to obscure views and stuff. And it was just, it would have been almost equivalently easy to take him out in San Diego when he was here. So I don't know, maybe they had spots set up and they're like, nah, it's not today, guys. Not today. Not today. Okay. What? Yeah, go. They're like, it's on. Do it. Pull the trigger. So now looking at these clips, what's our next clip?
I would probably maybe just show the one where that one's very similar, so I wouldn't show that one. Maybe the one where Howie accessed the roof. So let's see, what's the title?
How
go to the next one.
To UV campus.
That one right there. It looks like, no, wait, that's how he escaped. So maybe it is the next one.
How he escaped.
How he got on the roof. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. All right, let's have a look here.
That was just a decent perspective showing you how,
do this all.
How exactly, how easy it was to get up there and how much people should have seen him.
So this is the corner here.
Yep. I'm going to give you another shot of it sort of here panning across. So it would have been a couple corners out from there.
So as you can see, this is a new fence. All the person would have had to do is come up these stairs, walk right through, jump that little fence, and here they are.
On that right there, right? That's the vantage point right there. Yeah, and it's like, how are you not going to see a guy. Like
Did
you're
somebody
just
take a
you're.
shot from there? Did they make it look like they took a shot from there? Did they fire one into the air?
I mean, you're not even on a roof, right? You're just like a walkway, right? Just
Yeah,
like
there's a
walkway, right?
massive walkway behind me that leads into a building.
Yeah. And so multiple people are walking by there, and then there's a camera like over here, right? That has a view of this whole thing, like coming over this way. From
There's
what I
one
saw.
over my right shoulder, which is, I think, the same one that caught him jumping off the roof. That's the one I point out here in just a second. If you let it run,
okay,
it'll show it.
Shot took place. I don't know. I'm still looking for answers, but I really wanted to come here and get a lay of the land and see how it was really laid out and get a feel for it myself. So then my question is, why can't we see the camera footage from this one showing him come up these stairs and walk across and jump that? I'd like to see that. Does that look like the person dressed in the clothes that they say? That would maybe clear up some more questions. So the person gets up from the vantage point, disassembles the rifle, drops the screwdriver, who knows what else they're saying he did, runs across the roof, jumps down from that corner right there, runs by the grassy knoll, gun in the trees. So there's the vantage point just above that LC on the corner. And the alleged shot would have gone right over my head, down into the courtyard.
And again, this like looks super far away, but it's not even far away at all, right?
Yeah, and you can see that red X in that still shot in the end that kind of shows where the alleged shooter would have been. So, just trying to show the shooter's route, getting in, getting out, how he would have done it, so we can match that up to what they say. I think the best thing is to, like we've always said, is disprove the official story. We don't make too many positive claims about who did it, why, and how, but we can definitely start to disprove the official facts of the narrative.
Right there. That's the X you're talking about. Yeah. Yep. So it's like, I was in a space earlier and someone's like, but Candace was the one that she claimed that, this is when I kind of started questioning Candace, because before I was in Team Candace and everyone's like, Candace is making this up about Israel. And I was like, nah, she's right. And then when I kind of jumped the shark on it was when she's like, I've seen the footage from behind, and I know not only that, but she talked to the medical examiner or something. And she's like, I know for a fact that he was shot in the front and the bullet lodged in his neck. And I know that for a fact. I'm like, how do you know that for a fact? Were you there? Do you know the guy, the examiner personally? I mean, did you put your finger in the wound? I mean, they took the guy from the site in the SUV with people who are questionable at best. For all we know, they could have altered his state between there and the place that they brought him, and they had already picked the hospital, which he said before. So they already knew, and a lot of these things, they know the people who are doing the autopsies and stuff like that, like the JFK assassination. And the same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. Wasn't it the same guy who did the autopsy on both of them, I think? Wasn't that?
I don't know if that's true. That's crazy if that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and
anyway,
it's just like the hospital.
So I mean, if you're going to do an yeah.
The hospital thing's really sketchy too. I'm glad you brought that up, because not only do we have those strange Google searches from Washington, D.C. and Israel, searching for Timpanogos Hospital, searching for surgeons, searching for the shooter. Those are impossible searches to make before the event. No one would be searching for Tyler Robinson for before. So to me, that was kind of smoking gun material that Ian Carroll had covered. But you really just, you look at all of that, and it feels like there was definitely a premeditated, plan here, and it was just a full-blown patsy job. And most of this stuff is distractions. I think we've just got to really investigate everything that Candace is saying, because that part threw me off too. I was like, because I was pretty convinced that a shot came in from behind the right ear and came out the front left of the neck like this. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at where the shooter could have been in the minivan situation and the SUVs behind him. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I'm have to take it with a grain of salt, or just take her word for it until we learn more. Because
it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. It's just
body, I guess.
I'm sorry, because it doesn't matter what her word is. This is just something you can't know. You weren't there. You don't know the guy. You don't know where this video is coming from you that's being piped through supposedly like a chat. It could it be AI? Could it be altered video from before or touched and pasted, seeing as it was days after they finally center it through a third party through like a like one of these platforms here. I mean, I could just doctor the video. I'm like, here's the video. Don't show anyone. She never screen recorded it. She just remembers it. And just from that alone, like it's seen as in their own autopsy, they say it came in and then it went down through like 4 or 5 vertebrae down. It took the path of most resistance. Instead of glancing off, it went down and decided to tunnel and shatter every single one of his vertebrae all the way down to his chest into his heart and explodes his heart. It's like from his neck. Instead of going through the neck, it goes, no, I'm going to make a 90-degree turn and then I'm going to hit, explode the heart. And then like Alex Jones was saying, and then bounce back up, which I thought was funny that they're now saying that the bullet bounced and then ended up actually going up at one point or another. So anyway, I just
sounds like another magic bullet theory.
There's just no way she could know it for a fact. And she went out of her way. She didn't say, look, it is. I mean, she said, I know for a fact. And so she knows it for a fact. And then so other people are like, well, she's the one who proved that it couldn't be a 30-06 because she said it didn't have an exit wound. I said, no, the fact that his head didn't explode or fall off, that's what proved it wasn't a 30-06. Right. So anyway.
Well, and another weird detail about the hospital thing.
Getting mind control, because trauma-based mind control, if no one's traumatized more than Candace is about this shit. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and another random tidbit about those hospitals before we move on is that I found strange that I have a friend who was out there and was trying to report at one of these hospitals. So they had 2 different people, one go to the one hospital, one go to the other, because they don't know which one they're going to. And they had the exact same situation at both. Tons of police, no one's allowed in, and the governor was at the wrong one, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. So they got the impression.
And then they said there was no autopsy and she was going to sign it off, but then there was an autopsy. But then they took the body and then they signed off of the body. And then freaking Vance flies in to remove the body. And then, it's a little weird that they managed to get together that whole event so quickly. You know, like I said, I loved the event. I found it very spiritual. Like it was very powerful for me. So I'd really hate for that to be me just getting brainwashed, but I definitely felt the vibes there. And whether they were doing evil things, I think the people there had really good intentions, and I felt a lot of power there. So yeah. Well, just got to stay on point, man. We just can't let this, we can't just let one person be the arbiter of reality. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think so whatever was going on with the hospitals was definitely like a planned misdirection. Like they made everyone think it was happening at both almost at the same time, so that no one really knew which hospital he was at. So they probably had it planned exactly out, the narrative of what they were going to say happened in that autopsy, which surgeon was going to do it. And they probably had a wild goose chase and people going to the wrong hospital on purpose. We saw similar things with the Alex Jones the event that I don't ever say out loud because I don't want to hurt anyone's stream, but that event in Connecticut, that one, they had gone in and changed rules about coroner rules and children's autopsies before the event.
And nobody saw the bodies, and and the Christmas trees were there. And exactly. I mean, dude, and if we allow people to just say, you can't say so, this is another problem I have. This whole, I know for a fact thing. This bothers me. Because I have people and they'll hate on Alex Jones. I love Alex Jones. He's had me on a bunch of times. So I'll call him out on some stuff. You know, I'm not like, oh, Alex, he can do no wrong. You know, it's just like, please stop with this bullshit, guys. Like everybody makes mistakes. God made billions of human beings for a reason. If one person was infallible, we wouldn't need him. We wouldn't need God. So we're all here for a purpose. So when he went, I wish he had just said, fuck you. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to do that. Be like, and it just had us stuck to, I have the right to question it. And that's all there is to it. And then so many people would say, it's a fact, kids died. And I'm like, do you know any of these kids? What, the man on the TV told you? I'm not saying they did it. I'm really not. I'm saying you don't know. Whoever 99.999% of the people claiming they do. And then the people that say they do know people, then I'm like, do you really? I'm still questioning.
Some people think their proof of us landing on the moon is because they heard it on the radio. I mean, people will believe anything from an official media.
And then Buzz Aldrin's like, no, you didn't, because we couldn't.
Right.
You saw an animation, and then people are like, oh, what he meant was
right.
What I meant to say was, so he's literally telling you saw an animation, and so they could have landed on the moon, and they just went, look, we have to get this video out so we can freaking claim we won the space race. Now it's possible, but you can tell some of the footage is looking iffy. And then the fact that you're going to like literally have footage of the most momentous occasion on planet Earth ever. And you're like, yeah, we recorded over that. What?
Make it make sense.
just stay frosty, my friends. Stay frosty. Right. The last time these motherfuckers told us the truth, I mean, God knows it must have been a mistake. They were just like, well, we have to lie to them about something. We're like, God, if we tell them this, it's gonna be the truth. Though, like, yeah, but if we have to lie about that, okay. It was like it was like in a chess move where they're like, well, we have to tell the truth on one of these. God, all right.
So reluctant, but they did
the lesser lie that they let go. Yeah. So. Yeah, is there any more of these clips? I will start winding this stream down here. I appreciate you having.
No, I mean, I feel like just directing anybody to go watch the others. They're not really too earth-shattering. I do kind of the same thing, just give you an idea for what they told us happened. I sent them all off to Candace and Ian. Was like, hopefully, if anyone can make use of them, they will.
Yeah, I really feel like, and another thing, no offense, I hate to keep going on about Candace, but I feel like Candace, like I said, she's traumatized. She's got the #1 show in the world. So she's like under pressure.
Sure.
And she's like, feels like God is pushing her. So it's very easy for dark forces because of the way she does her show. Everything's tip lines. So they could set up predetermined tips that when you search it goes to an internet thing. Like they can alter internet searches, if they want to. They could actually predetermine these internet searches or goes to this firm or whatever. And they decide, okay, leave that. And then she'll search it and she'll find this. And so they're like literally leading her these breadcrumbs and then slowly taking her off the trail. It's possible, guys.
Yeah, no, it is.
God bless her heart. I think she's got a good heart. I know she was good friends with Charlie. And I do feel like a lot of her research, keep in mind the whole Macron thing. I was looking up that stuff, and people will rebut me and say, well, she says that. She says that. I know she says it, but there's this perception that she's this great sleuth. When the whole Macron thing was a 10-year-old, 15-year-old story mostly done by a woman that then was stole by that worked with Xavier Poussard, who then kind of stole all of her stuff. And then, but before she died, she was like, he basically lifted all my research and isn't giving me any credit for it. And then, so she found a story that's super mega viral in France, popularizes it over here, basically used every single bit of his research. There was like no new research, and claims like she's the progenitor, not claims, but projects that vibe that she's cracking the case. And then now she's cracking the case with Charlie. And like I said, a lot of this stuff, she's not literally cracking, she's getting tips.
Right.
So it's kind of a really leaky ship when you're being fed. Whereas I feel like Ian does core research himself. I think he finds threads and then he pulls threads. He doesn't just like go, everybody tell me what to think. And then he picks and chooses which one's the best for the show tonight, which I feel is what Candace does. So everybody, I love Candace. I'm just saying, I know going on about this, but I mean, people literally want to just not follow you or block you because you just even question. It's like, come on, guys, let's keep our heads about us. Right.
Yeah. 100%. Well, man, yeah, I think we did. I think we covered most of it. Maybe next time we can take down NASA and talk about some of their lies.
Yeah. What do you think about Found Ring? You like this guy?
Yeah, man. It's funny
Founder.
because he actually made an old song about the whole Sandy book story, and it got
Yeah,
a lot.
and he
It
did
got
the
him in a lot of trouble.
COVID. He did Fake and Gay too about the space. I
Yeah,
got this guy. He's coming on here. I forget. Is it Saturday? I think I have him on Saturday night. He says he's a fan of me from COVID. We'll just listen to his thing, or we'll go out. But I appreciate you coming on. This is about Cash Patel here and his quote unquote not honey trap, right?
Honey, 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 honey,
So hilarious, man.
Alexis is my honey, she been assigned to me. The sweetest little honey pot I fill with hot curry. I'm true Hindu with crossed eyes, I'm compromised. Are you surprised she's attracted to this 40-something skinny apoo? Are you? Alexis is my honey, she sings them country tunes. They groomed her good at PragerU, and now she shills for Jews. Watch how the kites you.
Okay, so you get an idea that I've got him coming up. So tune in for that. I forget. I think it's Saturday. I'll post it here tomorrow when that's coming up. And the way these streams work is that the last thing on the screen when we end the stream is what will be the thumbnail, unfortunately. So I'm going to end it now. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much.